How good is this season of Sister Wives? I know, don't yell at me. A lot of you are like, this is the most boring crap I've ever watched in my life. But last night, episode 11, you guys, where did that apology from Kody come from? And did anyone else see Janelle? Janelle ready to remarry that man right there. Honey, if they had a JP show up at that restaurant, she would have let him get on his knees, a new collar rings. She would have married his ass right there again, all forgiven. Was that not such good TV? Who possessed Kody? Did he go to therapy? I need a whole breakdown. This Suki one-on-one, I need to write to Suki because she's been on this podcast. I need to know where that came from. That seemed like the most sincere, Kody unmasked, unfiltered, actually like focused. I know he says he's undiagnosed ADHD. That actually seemed like he was on point. Okay, welcome in. Welcome in. I'm Sarah. You all know I do a daily pop culture podcast. I'm thrilled you're here and I'm obsessed with TLC shows. 1,000-Pound Sisters is coming back in January. That one's kind of fallen off for me, but I cover a lot of them. Seeking Sister Wives, I will be on next season. It just wrapped. But that is getting so juicy. And by the way, Garrick Merrifield, not fired from TLC. I don't believe Garrick Merrifield and Danielle and now Lorena, you know, they ain't going to be fired unless, I mean, if Garrick did something so, we'll see, because you're innocent until proven guilty. I know he's been arrested for domestic violence. Nobody knows the full story. Supposedly he tried to stop Lorena from using the internet and contacting her family in Brazil. Again, let's see if he's proven guilty. If he is, maybe they're off the show. But if there is any ambiguity, they'll be back. I'll be covering that, and welcome to Plathville. So let's get into it. Episode 11 last night was juicy. It's the kickoff of the apology tour. If you haven't gone to my Instagram or TikToks, which are at the Sarah Fraser Show, there is a graphic going around that TLC created it. It's real. Fans are like, are they really on tour? Is this real? I thought this was a joke. TLC created a graphic of Kody Brown laying out all the dates and the wives that he apologizes to. Christine's the one that gets a two-parter with her current husband, David. But last night kicked it off with Janelle, and it couldn't have been better. So we opened last night with the beginning of the apology tour. Kody's in the car. It's very Dateline style. He's in North Carolina. One of the things you guys have posed the question about on my YouTube is you've said, okay, when he did this trip to North Carolina, which by the way was like this spring of 2025, did he see his children? We know Peyton lives there. I believe Gwen and Bea have moved there. Obviously, Maddie and Caleb, McKelty. I don't know. That's a great question. And maybe something McKelty will reveal on her Patreon. So we actually kick off in Vegas. I should say that. We're in Vegas. The apology tour is coming up. It's all a part of the preview. We start in Vegas. This Vegas girls speed dating thing with Meri and Amber is such a disaster. You guys, I felt horrible. And also I need to be Meri's wing woman because Meri just doesn't have a clue. You know what I'm saying? So Meri thinks, first of all, Meri out of the gate tells us that she thinks that flirting when you're married in a relationship is cheating. Oy vey. Anybody else listening or watching this going, if flirting were considered cheating, my marriage would have been over 18 times. Flirting is all you have when you're married. Okay, Meri, I know y'all grew up in this polygamous house. You had 18 kids. You weren't out and about at the grocery store, but I'm the biggest flirt. And my husband does he laughs about it now. He's very secure in our marriage, and I am too. So, but I mean, if I'm at a bar for 5 minutes, I could find a man. I love talking with, flirting with. I mean, and if they're rich, I've even more to say. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do you guys really consider flirting in a marriage cheating? I will say this: exchanging phone numbers, if you're at a bar and you're giving a guy and you're married your phone number after flirting, and it's not for business or something like that, yeah, there you go. And if you're keeping it going on social and stuff like that, Not good. But I mean, out in Vegas, like especially in Vegas, you got to flirt with anybody and everybody. So anyhow, but Mary, I can see why she doesn't do well at speed dating. She is this like fun Mel Robbins type now, but she also falls back into that. She has that way about her, which I think is what McKelty says about her, where she's very strict. She's got her mindset. She tells us she loves to joke around, but she doesn't want a polygamy joke. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard with her. You're at a speed dating event. You got to throw yourself at everybody. Girls, boys, the director of this dang thing. You got to flirt. And then of course, whenever we do these discussions, we pop back to the other wives, what they think of speed dating and online. And, poor Robin, Robin says there was no flirting allowed in the Brown family. And that wasn't Robin's rule. Robin would have had PDA. I'm confused by Robin. Robin sort of tells us one minute she would have had PDA years ago, but they kind of weren't into it. So she shut it down. Now she ain't used to it. What is it, Mary? What is it, Robin? Robin girl, what? Just be happy with your man. We also learned Mary's not into kinky sex, and her friend goes, yeah, because you haven't had it. And, like, yeah, like get this woman, like is Jen bought her some love toys? Like this chick, Mary, it's going to be hard for Mary to find love. Like you got to really, and I know it's one step at a time, but you got to really reinvent. So anyhow, of course, Robin doesn't understand the online world and doesn't understand like online dating, which is actually sad because I feel like if they had gotten into the internet, I don't know, like a decade ago, they would be like the Merrifields, where they'd have like chick after chick just throwing themselves at them. Like they would have had so many sister wives. I don't even know if they would have been able to get divorced because it would have been like, dang, we welcoming another one we met online. But the speed dating event, you guys, is so awkward. Like Mary, it isn't going well. Mary ain't meeting anybody. Some of the men are hitting it off immediately with women that are not Meri and Amber. And Mary is just, I don't know. Mary goes, I'm too picky. I'm too picky. I'm like, no, Mary, you're just, you want these guys to be into you at first. And sometimes you got to make the first move. I met my husband sitting next to him on an airplane, and I'm the one that started talking to him first. Now, is he the initiator for some other things later on in our relationship? Yeah, but I'm definitely the more dominant person. So, and most of the men that approached me over the years, it never worked out. So Mary, I feel like we see a little bit of a bitchy side of Mary, a judgmental side, a side that isn't quite secure in who she is. She doesn't make any connections and she doesn't get matched with anybody. We'll talk about that later on. Then we pop into NYC. This is NYC, North Carolina. This is what everybody was waiting for, including myself. And this could not have been more riveting television. Okay, Kody, goes into this that he doesn't want to fight and he wants to apologize. That's what he tells us as he preps to head to the restaurant. He's in the restaurant sitting when Janelle walks in and he stands up to greet her. Okay, obviously that would be 101. And it's very weird at first. He goes, look at you. Are you feeling healthy? Which was weird to me. What are we saying here? Like compliment this woman. Like, you look great. It's great to see you. You're obviously doing well, but he's like, you feeling healthy? They make some small talk about the food there. And he explains why, he's wearing a sport jacket, which is again, they've been married for years. I mean, it seems like he's on a job interview. He's got a sport coat on, no tie. He thought the weather was going to be a little bit nicer, but he's knocking over my microphone. But he's got a sport coat on and it's been unseasonably cold. They're talking about the weather, which he basically says the weather is a great way to break the ice with people. It's like, dude, you've been married to this chick for like 25 years. Do we really need to break the ice that much? And then we pop back to Meri after we do the awkward sport coat and weather chat. And it just goes from bad to worse. They didn't get matched with anyone, Meri or Amber. They're looking mad awkward. And Meri just says, this is the game I'm in. This is the game I'm in now. And she's ready to leave Vegas. And of course, the famous saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. She wants this to stay in Vegas. Mary's a little salty about this dating thing, and it was super awkward. But this is like, okay, this is what I'm saying about why the episodes are getting better, which TLC always does this. I feel like they start slow, the show sucks, and then it hits its stride. I want to see this type of Mary. Like, I feel like we see how Mary, it's hard for her to date because of her polygamy background. She's just been so sheltered when it comes to other guys. Then we go to David and Christine. They're playing pickleball. These two, I love the way they flirt, and I love how they give each other a hard time. Christine is giving him a hard time because he's wearing sunglasses, which she feels like gives him an advantage on the pickleball courts. David trash talks Christine. David is such a great asset to this. It's so interesting to me. He's fabulous for TV. He's so good for reality TV. And in fact, I'm going to be honest, I think he probably has like really wild, probably takes on sex and life and people. Like, but they obviously, curtail all that. They edit, I'm sure, all that. And Christine reveals that Kody has now reached out to her. And it came out of nowhere. She says she doesn't trust Kody and she really wants to know what the motives are. And we replay the past couple of times that she's had a in-depth conversation with Kody about their marriage or relationship, the infamous knife in the kidneys comment, and she really has no interest. Now, this is the part I'm curious what you all think. David is the one who kind of pushes and was pushing last night for this reconciliation. And David is critical of Kody. Essentially, he says last night in the episode, if Kody doesn't start making an effort with his children later on in life when he needs them, they're not going to be there for him. But he's really pushing Christine because he holds Christine's feet to the fire and says to her, when we first met, you wanted to have like a family reunion. You wanted this family reunion where we could get together. It could be water under the bridge and for truly, right? So David seems to be the one that pushes this. I guess my question also would be for the one-on-one with Suki is like, was that genuine or was that prompted by producers? Just like, is that really how David feels? Then we hop back to North Carolina. Kody tells Janelle that he really kind of gets right into it, that he's there to apologize. And he says that he's so sorry for how angry and bitter he was. And Janelle, like, I think instantly is put back on her heels. Like, she is, I think, at first, like, in defense mode and then acceptance mode. And she is blown away by what he's saying. Janelle's, so he starts in and he wants to apologize for how angry, how bitter he's been through this. And Janelle says that and kind of almost owns a little bit of her part in this marriage, which was interesting, or the breakup of the marriage, which was interesting because I don't recall her saying it this way. But she says that really over the years, Kody and Janelle became so focused on the kids and the overall family unit that they really didn't spend a lot of time, the two of them, nurturing their relationship, which y'all know if you're married, marriage is work too, right? You have to make time for each other, whether it's date days or afternoons or, the whole thing, right? If you want to keep a strong marriage and it ebbs and flows. So then Kody, of course, Kody did a great job last night, I thought, but he always comes back to some sort of self-absorption of him, right? So at some point he goes, I just want to let you know, Janelle, that me being angry, you should be happy. You should be grateful about that because that proved how much I really loved you. If I was ambivalent about this whole thing, what does that mean to you? But the fact I was so angry and lashed out at you and said that I never loved you, that proves I love you. It's like, dude, you're doing great. Just shut your own mouth. And he says he now looks back and they were part of something really special, which he hasn't really told Janelle since this whole breakup. And he says, sorry for saying that I never loved you. You guys, at this point, Janelle, she a puddle. Okay. She is just, she is too fit to be tied. All right. I don't know about you all, but the love she had in her eyes for that man. And Janelle says, I know. I knew you really loved me. I knew you really loved me and you were lashing out in anger. And I knew we had something special. This chick has done a 180. The past, I'm going to say 10 episodes, this girl She done nothing but talk about how she would never see Kody and Robin again. Cody's a hot mess. He's horrible with money. I mean, actually, what's interesting to me is he has such a strong connection with Janelle, but really, she's the one that almost is like the one that's like the most checked out about him, but then like comes right back around. So then this was what was wild last night. Then Janelle has a moment, which I thought was coming, where she really believes in this intense one-on-one conversation. She believes that Kody, she thought, was going to ask her to reconcile. And I don't think she was going to, if that had happened, I don't know that she'd fully say no. So producer then goes to Robin. Now this was interesting. Producer goes to Robin and goes, Robin, Rob Dog, Cody's in North Carolina right now. And how would you feel if he asked one of the exes to return to the family? What would you think? Robin is taken aback, guys. Robin cannot, she doesn't know how to answer. And she's just like, she just holds her eyes and she's like, I can't go there. I can't, you're going to make me too emotional. I'm going to have to walk off set. Don't go there. Don't go there. But the way she paused, I don't know if she just never thought about like one of the women potentially returning, or if she really in her heart of hearts doesn't want them to return. But she shut that reconciliation chat down real quick. She would, I can't. I just can't. I don't want to go there. I can't. I got to stop. I got to stop. Girlfriend shut down production on that one. All right, we pop back to Meri and Amber in this disaster of a speed dating event. Oh my God. Well, they've left the speed dating. They've left Vegas and they are now with Jen. Now, for those of you who didn't know this, Jen's husband has cancer. He's been fighting it for a while. She finally revealed this, I'm going to say maybe 5 months ago on social media. Jen's been on this pod too. And Meri, they are doing a fundraiser for Jen. Jen is an incredible business person. And she's also a woman, I think, like a lot of you all are, probably like I am too, where we're guilty of, it's very hard to ask for help, especially if you've had success in your life and, you know, you've been a good mother and you've held it all together and then life circumstances changes. It's hard to call somebody and go, hey, would you mind coming over and watching the kids, or could you make us meals, or could you get, you know, could you, and especially with medical bills. I mean, you know, if you've held it down and you've had money and then somebody gets cancer and they've had a cancer battle like her husband for well over a year, it's hard to go, hey, you know what? We need help paying these bills. Like that's very hard. So Meri and Amber are going to do a fundraiser. And Jen is having a hard time accepting the help. And she's opened a bike shop with her hubby. And Jen and Meri, it was weird because Meri prefaced this conversation with Jen's not going to like this. And I think what Meri had meant is Jen is not going to like that we're kind of saying like, you're going to accept this help, I think was where it was going. But the women decide that they're going to allow people to rent bikes from Jen. So that's going to help and put more money in Jen's pocket. And then Meri is going to have a breakfast on her front lawn in Parowan. Oh, I want to go. And Ron is going to go and show up and help. Hell yeah. We want to see Ron. Now, Ron, if you're like, well, where the hell's Ron coming from? This is weird to me. Ron, she met at the original speed dating event, like episode 1 or 2, okay, of this season, of season 20. But the way they set up Ron is like, they've been hanging out and doing all this stuff. And it's like, why haven't we seen that? Why is the first time we're going to see Ron and their interactions at Jen's fundraiser? So Jen begins to cry and says that she is learning how to accept help. We pop back to Kody. Kody admits that he's been a bastard for 3 years. Like, this was good. That's what I'm like, who wrote this for him? Kody says he wishes that he'd protected Janelle. And this is where Janelle, you know, I'm telling you, if he had had another Claudia ring, you could forget it. It would have been game over. She was eating this up like pie. He says that he wishes that he'd protected her. The special place, you know, that special place and bond that the two of them had, that he had protected her more, he'd stood up for her more. And he says they started out with such tenderness that he should have really honored that. And instead, you know, so many things just have transpired over the years and there's been so many hard times and he failed her as a husband. I mean, when you're thinking about an apology, this is like all you want to hear. And he specifically talks about when Janelle was pregnant with Logan. And there was a moment then, now, of course, this would have been before they started filming Sister Wives. He was working all the time as a salesman, and she was asking him, "Do you love me? Do you love me?" And he apologized for those early years that we didn't even see as viewers of this show. And I'm assuming in that moment with Logan, she wanted, she wanted somebody to have her back. She wanted a husband, a partner, and he wasn't available for her and didn't really make amends for that. So he apologizes for the early years, and that's where, oh boy, Janelle is like, I see a pathway that this could work. I mean, she didn't really say that, but I'm saying like she could. And he talks about how much he wishes he'd protected her again. He says that he had an ache in his heart this whole time. And Janelle says that she still cares for him. This is what she tells us in her confessional. And they will always have a connection, because how could they not? They had children together. They spent this experience on television. They loved each other. They had this unique plural marriage. And Kody says that he too still loves Janelle. You guys, is season 21? Is season 21? First of all, I have a prediction that season 21, we're going to see this family reunion that they all have thought about, where the kids all come back together. I just think, especially as probably the show begins to wind down, maybe it lasts till season 25. And I know what you're thinking, like, what could they possibly talk about? Oh, they'll find stuff. But I don't know. This seemed like the beginning of Janelle getting back with him. Then we go back to Christine and David. Christine still isn't sure that she wants to go. At this point in the season, she has not committed to going, although we obviously know she does. And David is going to go with her. David is all for more communication between Christine, David, Kody. David says that she, has to have the right relationship with him, not just one that is a one-sided one. And Christine wants all of them to be at a family reunion. And of course, there's David with the comedy. And he's like, okay, well, if this family reunion is going to happen, you got to curate the right relationship with this man. And I ain't getting in the mosh pit with Kody, because we know Kody loves to dance. He loves a mosh pit. And David kind of is making fun of him. So like, in that moment, that's where I'm like, oh, set the scene, cue season 21, which we already know is happening because Christine has revealed that on podcast interviews. We're getting that family reunion, an alleged mosh pit. So I love that Christine and David, they're on this like walking trail right near her house. She's got like a huge purse on. They're like walking and talking about Kody. And, we go back and forth now from North Carolina to Utah. And Janelle, at least after this apology, says that she will not get back together with Kody. We'll see. That's what she says in the confessional. But they do bring up Garrison. Very, very sweet moment about Garrison. And they talk about that Garrison, they have the opportunity to give Garrison a military headstone. And, they could meet at the grave site and do it. And Kody's all for it. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Just the two of us. We don't have to bring like a ton of people. And, let's do it. So there you have it. They wrap up their conversation in this like heartfelt one-on-one. And she says that she loves the opportunity. She tells him that she loved the opportunity to talk to him. Kody is near tears at this point and says that he needed this for 4 years. He needed this discussion. And the episode like ends. I'm just like, this was so good. This was wild to me. Like, this was the kind of like in-depth one-on-one conversation that we all needed. So good. The preview for next week, episode 12, of course, is, people asking Janelle if she's thinking about actually working it out. I'm going to tell you right now, even if she doesn't ever go back with them, which clearly, okay, here we are months later after this apology happened. Chick thought about it. After that dinner, like, I want to interview Janelle. After that lunch, guarantee she thought about going back to him 100%. We're going to be introduced to Ron next week. Out of nowhere. I'm going to be so curious how they bring this up, because apparently Ron and Meri have been hanging out together. However, we didn't know. And then Kody meets up with Christine and David. And Kody is very nervous. He is concerned that these next two meetings with Christine and David and Meri are not going to go well. Well, Why would you think that, pal? Why would you think that? Yeah, I think, you know what? I think you got a right to be nervous, but these, all right, we're on tour. This is good. Did you guys like it? Drop a comment on my YouTube. And as usual, you know, I have so much content. I put out a daily pop culture podcast. This week, we have a lot to talk about. The Merrifields. We talked about Seeking Sister Wives. Now, one of the co-stars of the show is speaking out about Garrick's DV arrest. If you haven't watched the Diddy doc that 50 Cent has put out on Netflix, it is so good. I think it's the best one that is done. Unbelievable. So we're going to get into a deep dive about that. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, we've got some tea too. So there's a lot to get to. It's a full week of shows. David Yontef is here. We obviously talk about Bravo T as well. And some guests pop in here and there. Okay. Bye, everybody. Love you guys.